All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. It's evening for me right now, but it may not necessarily be evening for everyone who's watching. So if it's a day for you, if it's afternoon for you, then good day, good morning, good afternoon, also good evening, because that's what it is for me. Today, we will be continuing our playthrough of The Life and Suffering of Sir Brant. And so, it's a text adventure RPG that I've been playing quite a bit in the last few weeks, where you play through the life of Sir Brant from childhood into adulthood, and you make life choices for him and navigate the rather oppressive and fucked up society that he lives in. So the life and suffering of Sir Brant in the times of the fall of the Blessed Archnean Empire. So we'll just be continuing our playthrough for today. Hopefully we won't have any internet issues, because like I live in a country that has quite terrible internet. Australia, if it's not clear, and our internet infrastructure is quite bad actually. So I've been having a few issues the last few times I've played, and I am just hoping and praying that it doesn't emerge today. So we'll just get right into it. Let's just get right into it. Hopefully everybody in the chat right now is doing well right now. We'll just be continuing. We are now 21 years old. So to recap, the stage of our life that we're at right now. So we have now risen to the rank of nobility, working as a judge in the prefecture of Anazot, where we grew up. So we still live in the family home, and it's a complicated web of a social conflict that defines our lives in Anazot. But we've done well for ourselves. We've entered the judiciary, and we are trying to do our best to create a fairer and more equal society. So our boss, who is a noble himself, Augustine Elborn, has charged us with the task of developing and creating legal precedents to drive more equality between the common class and the nobility, which is, one of the major social conflicts that defines this setting. So, night is falling over Anazot. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day at work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you have known since you were a little boy. It is as if your legs are acting of their own accord, bringing you to the place of your childhood play, the remnants of the wooden fort. So much has changed since the days you used to play here with your little friends. Engrossed in your memories, at first you failed to notice that you are not alone here. A tall figure in the uniform of a Legion officer approaches you. You see unruly brown hair and a twinkle in his eye. It is Thomas. Hey, so Thomas is our childhood friend. He is a veritable bro. Though, it's been a while since we've seen him, so I don't know if he's still a bro. But I have a lot of good memories about Thomas. Now that's a surprise. Hi, Brant. Fancy running into you the moment I'm back in town. Your childhood friend puts his arms around you. Good stuff. Good stuff. Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We'll have a little chat and remember the good old days. Thomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much older he looks. His face has become sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than their usual mischievous sparkle. I should warn you though, Tordo, I ain't the best company nowadays. I've managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand. The smile in his face starts to fade. Fuck that. No. I made a pledge to Thomas when we were younger that we would be friends for life. So no, I don't care if my the family reputation goes down. That's a little unfortunate. I have to admit, that's a little unfortunate. But even if our reputation goes down, you know, I'm not about to miss a chance to spend some time with my old friend, no matter what kind of danger he's in. Oh, how you going, JP? How are you going? Yeah, hello. You haven't missed anything. We basically just started as is, so you haven't missed anything. All right, so we just met up with Thomas, and that's about it. So we'll have dinner with Thomas, even if it may put our own personal reputation at risk. I don't mind. Because I can't even walk away to begin with. Can't even walk away, but, you know, Thomas is a bro, and we're not gonna just abandon him or miss the chance to say hello. You give Thomas your hand, you shake hands firmly, a firm handshake, you know, a firm handshake. So you haven't forgotten your old friend, Brante. That's the way it ought to be. Well, come on then. You go to a tavern. Oh, that's loud. I don't know why, but I always get surprised by how loud the game noises are, at least for me. I mean, you can't see it on my model, but I am wearing the headphones, you know, the ones with the cracked shell. I am wearing those headphones, and let me tell you, it actually does it does get kind of loud. You go to a tavern reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table in the far corner of the tavern. Thomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You are deafened by the tavern, hearing -10. Exactly. How are you going, Kathleen? How are you today? But yes, it's kind of funny. So, you know, like, I've had hearing issues not too long ago. Thankfully, I was able to resolve them. But for a decent amount of time, I think it was like a couple of weeks, I kind of had issues hearing out of my left ear, right? I had issues hearing out of my left ear. And if you can take a look at me, right? If you take a look at me, you can see that there's the cracked, you know, earbud or headpiece on the headphones, and that correlates with the left ear. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not too surprised that I did have issues hearing out of my left ear, because, you know, like, it's probably got something to do with my faulty headset, right? And I really should replace them, but, you know, like, you know, I am a turtle, and I have to admit, making my way outside, coming out of my shell a little, buying a new headset, a new pair of headphones, you know, it's kind of a long way to go to the store. I am a turtle after all. We can only go at a certain speed, and that speed isn't very fast. But how are you doing, Kathleen? How are you doing today? You choose a table in the far corner. Thomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, about your first years back in Anazot. You share family news, your quest to become nobles of the sword, the quarrels between your elder brother and sister, your mother's health. Thomas nods with concern. Sounds like you've had some rough times. Your family has always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pa is in the workshop, and my ma's doing some chores. But look at me! I came home a service-class nobleman. Although, it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. Doing well, thank you. That's good to hear, Kathleen. That's good to hear. It would be Thursday morning for you, maybe Thursday afternoon. You know, regardless of what time it is for you right now, I hope you have a nice and comfy day scheduled. You know, like, for me personally, I do have tomorrow off. So tomorrow is a public holiday where I am, which means that I have a little bit of free time to myself, which is quite nice. I think I might stream. I don't know. I might stream at a non-standard time, you know, just for the sake of it. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. Or I don't know. I have friends that want me to, like, download a certain game and play with them, and I haven't decided whether I'll play with them that particular game. But, you know, we'll see how we go. But for me personally, I am enjoying the fact that this is my Friday, right? Because I have tomorrow off, and then you have the weekend and all of that stuff. So I don't know how it is for you, Kathleen, but I hope that as we wind towards the end of the week, that, you know, your workloads and any stress that you may have, you know, that lessens, and you can, you know, head towards the weekend with, you know, peace of mind, because that's really important. That's really important in general. You will play ... Yes, JP. Yes. I don't know if I kneel yet, or I will play game, but we'll see how we go. Thomas is suddenly grim. You ask your old friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances around the room and lowers his voice. Well, I'm a captain in the Magran Legion now. And who's our commander? His Excellency. Oh, thank you for following. Thank you for following. Prince Phantom, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. How are you going today? How are you going today? His Excellency, Darius Otten. That's right, I serve under the very same Archnian whose toes I stepped on back in Eterna. And you better believe he remembers me. And I'm afraid things are gonna end real badly. But hey, I'll figure it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order in uppity towns and villages. We protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills, all day long, obviously. If only you knew how sick I am of them barracks, Toru. I've thought about starting a family. My ma keeps telling me to find a nice girl to marry. She says it's about high time I got hitched. Doing good, a fairly late night here, so mostly chilling. How are you? I'm doing well. Like I was saying, Prince. You know, I don't have work tomorrow because I do work full time, so I don't have work tomorrow. So I'm actually just really chilling myself right now. You know, so I'm glad that, you know, it's late night for you, but I'm glad that, you know, you're just hanging around and just chilling, and you've decided to hop into my stream and you know, spend some time here. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. So I find it funny though. I find it funny. It's like, it's a little relatable. Like Thomas is saying, oh, my family is pressuring me to get married. And then I don't know. I was watching a stream a couple of days ago, and the streamer was talking about how, you know, regardless of how things change over the course of history, there's a lot about humanity that stays the same. And so he was talking about that in reference to certain like human behavior. And like, I just feel like even though that this is a medieval fantasy kind of storyline, like there are some things that regardless of the technology, regardless of the society that you're in, there are some aspects that seem to be universal. And this idea of your family pressuring you to get married if you're getting up there in age, you know, I think that's a universal feeling too. Like parents, they really want to see the grandkids, and you know, like I've felt that pressure too, and I know other people I talk to have felt that pressure too, and like I wish they would understand that turtles live long lives, you know. Turtles live a long lives. I've got plenty of time, but even if it doesn't happen, you know, it doesn't happen. But I do find it funny. The point that I did want to make was that I do find it funny that regardless of, you know, how technology and how society advances, there are certain parts of human behavior that seem to transcend all of these cultural barriers, language barriers, technology barriers, and that sort of thing. And, you know, like approach to family and starting a new family tends to be one of them. It is completely dark, and you are still talking. Finally, Thomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. Oh, you've had a few. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Thomas through your home neighborhood, you keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that was following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while in the semi-darkness between your family homes, just as you used to, all those years ago. Bye, Brante. I hardly ever come to Anazot these days. Our battalion is always on the march all over the province. But twins willing, we'll see each other again real soon. You advise your friend to safeguard his every life. Right, so another thing about this particular setting is that you can die multiple times. So I think you can die 3 times and you will come back to life, and then on the 4th death, then you don't come back to life. And so the distinction between the both is that you suffer from a lesser death, and then when you die for real, you know, that's your true death. And that's basically what we're trying to advise Thomas, right? Because he may have lives left to live, more than one, but if he gets on the wrong side of the nobility, especially the Archnian nobility, then he could suffer a true death as punishment. And we definitely don't want to see that because, again, Thomas Guerrero is our best friend. Oh no. Oh no, a reputation in the city has gone down. I'll live. I'll live. The reason why I live is because Thomas is my bro for life. Look. Your first year at the prefecture has come to an end. You are not a young student anymore. You know now that a judge's trade means so much more than knowing the law and carrying it out. Resolving litigation of any importance requires striking a balance between the code of law, high society's opinion, and the whims of the provincial powers that be. Your second year is beginning, and it feels so much tougher already. Trampled by the nobles, the commoners seek help, and so they turn to the law. They turn to you. A carriage takes you through the silver district of Anazot. It is early morning, and you have just received a letter bearing the seal of the city hall. Remy L. Vermin, the magistrate of Magra himself, wishes to see you at once. The mere sight of the magistrate's invitation is enough to make you scowl. There is no doubt about your newest case regarding the Quorum Gazette, which may spell trouble for everyone involved. This is no doubt, sorry. A provincial legislature, the lesser quorum, governs the volume and distribution of taxes in Magra. After a new law was created by the emperor's own brother Cornelius Tempest several years ago, commoners of considerable wealth were granted representation in the quorum on par with the nobility, thus forming the lesser quorum. So, I guess they want to use they want to draw parallels with the Roman Republic. And so what happened in the Roman Republic was that you had the Senate, right? And the Senate primarily consisted of the nobility. And then it's the idea of, I can't remember if it was the exact term, but then you had the Senate, and then they primarily consisted of the landed nobility, the noble families, the equites, the sort of high-ranking people in society. And then they created another council or another group of representation or representative officials, which were drawn from the commoner class. And I think the way that it finds itself in the modern day would be the distinction between the House of Commons and the House of Lords. If you're in the UK, I think that's the distinction. I don't know, admission into the House of Lords. I don't know if you need to be part of the nobility to be there anymore, but it's the general idea that you have two separate houses, where you have one drawn from the common people and then you have one drawn from the nobility. And the general role of these two houses is for the House of the Commons to, draft and put through legislation that, for example, the Prime Minister or the ruling party would develop. And then it would be checked. It would be checked and modified based on the input in the upper house. And that's I don't know how transferable that kind of system is to the modern day, but I believe that this is kind of what the game is aiming for here, right? And obviously, depending on, I appreciate the explanations. Thank you. I don't think they're amazing explanations, Prince. I don't think they're amazing explanations because I'm not a huge expert on these sorts of things, but I believe that's how it generally works, right? And then so in this particular setting, the nobility has been oppressing the commoners for a long time. So in terms of how much power each quorum has in comparison to each other, I believe, the nobility is still much more powerful. Hence the conflict in legislation, and that's why we're involved now. They help with the context. Thank you. I try my best to, give a little bit of context. So I'm glad they help. Thank you. Now the representatives of the lowly estate have founded a newspaper of their own, and this Quorum Gazette, distributed all across Anazot, fervently argues for commoners' rights in provincial governance. The man behind the newspaper is Mayor Mayor Egmont, a well-off industrialist and owner of several silver mines, and it was his article and his demands that brought about this litigation. Who better to teach history than a long-lived turtle? Exactly, Kathleen. Exactly, Kathleen. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for understanding. You know, like who do you turn to? Who would you turn to when explaining, explaining storied political institutions? You turn to a turtle VTuber, because who else would explain it? Thank you. I'm glad you understand. The man behind this litigation is a well-off industrialist. And so, again, this brings up another historical social conflict that we've seen in human history, which is the conflict between old money and new money. So old money, the nobility, and new money, like the industrialists and that sort of thing. And so, like, we come to the sort of conflict where does a bloodline matter more, or does money matter more, right? And so we will see how this plays out in real time. You take out a newspaper and read Egmont's article printed within. It addresses Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest directly. We demand that Sir Overseer Gaius Tempest cease his habitual disregard for our meetings. Oh wow. From our Emperor Uther II, we received the lawful right to assemble and sit in the lesser quorum. And we say to the Overseer, our voices must be heard, our message must be accepted. The carriage stops in a square by a luxurious building. You know, this is actually pretty complicated because and I like this actually. So just a little more context. So there is like a sort of soft civil war going on in this province right now, because we have the Overseer Gaius Tempest, who is the Emperor's brother, and he has been assigned to the position of like the governor of this region. However, we have an Archduke Milanitis, who is the historical governor of the region. And the two men, they represent two warring parts of society. Gaius Tempest generally is pushing for progressive reforms to give commoners more equal rights, whereas Archduke Milanitis wants to uphold the privilege of the nobility. And I find it very interesting, right? And it's sort of realistic too, because even though Gaius Tempest is the sort of standard bearer for these like progressive and, equal causes, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody who does believe in these sorts of things will fall lockstep in line with him. And so what Mayor Egmont is doing is he's using his influence, he's using his money, he's using his, industrial monopoly to, sort of push the message to put pressure on Gaius Tempest in order to force a more harsh conflict. And I think that's cool, simply because like it's realistic, right? In a lot of games, like you'll have characters and factions that represent certain ideological viewpoints, and in a lot of games, like they'll clash against one another and that sort of thing. But there aren't many games that try to at least show off a little bit of the what's the word I'm looking for? Like a little bit of the, this isn't the correct word, but this is the only word I can think of right now. But the subtlety, or like the nuance of these sorts of ideological clashes, because in a lot of games they don't have the opportunity to really showcase, because they have to do, they have to focus on the gameplay. And so what you have is these ideological standards, and then they're treated as like monoliths, and then they clash against each other, and then like, you have a victor or that sort of thing. But in this particular game, it does show off the nuance that even though you roughly belong to the same faction, it doesn't necessarily mean that you fall lockstep in line with one another. And I like that because that is, that falls in line with what we've seen in human history as well. The carriage stops in a square by a luxurious building. This is the city hall, where imperial officials manage all domestic and economic matters of Anazot. You're escorted up a long, winding staircase to the door of the magistrate's office. Ugh. Why do I keep getting jump scared by these goddamn sounds? Oh my god. What's wrong with me? Yes, Sir Judge. You are from the Brante family, I believe. I appreciate your prompt arrival. I'd rather not waste your time and get right down to business. The matter for which I called you here is urgent indeed. You are judging a case against that newspaper by the lesser quorum, are you not? I've had a torrent of complaints against it from the most venerable members of the quorum. They say that Mayor Egmont has insulted Gaius Tempest, our overseer and an Archnean from the Emperor's own great dynasty. And I say, they're absolutely right. The Empire gave those uppity commoners a hand in managing the province's very well-being, which is already a violation of their lowly lot. But no, that wasn't enough for them, it seems. You've earned the mantle only recently, Sir Brante, but you must realize that this is an affront to the honor of the entire nobility. I expect you to do your duty as a judge and immediately find a pretext for shutting down this, but this guy, what a world. He's basically saying to me, look, I know that you're a new judge, so what you need to do is find an excuse to shut this newspaper down. Elborn, your prefect, might think otherwise. However, Sir Brante, if you exercise enough wisdom and cunning, I am certain you will realize which position is most beneficial to you. With your youth and potential, it'll do you good to have powerful friends on your side. This is like my boss's boss, right? So my boss is like, my boss, Elborn, your prefect, right? So he has come to me saying that we need to side with justice whenever possible, right? We need to do our role as members of the judiciary to help create precedent for a more equitable and equal society. You know, do our part in our role to make things better for as many people as possible. And then this guy, who's like my boss's boss, he's saying, no, fuck that, you know, find a pretext, get the result that we want, or, you know, your career's going down the drain. Oh no. I'm sure you will reach the only appropriate verdict when closing this case, and I hope you'll be duly judicious. Yeah, I don't know why I struggle saying that. For now, farewell. You return to the prefecture, lost in thought. Yikes, yes. Yes, very much so, Prince, very much so. Sir Elverman is right. Your word is all it will take to shut down the lesser quorum newspaper down. As a judge and a nobleman, you do not even need a reason. The people running the Gazette are mere commoners, no matter how wealthy they might be. There was no breach of law, however. Mayor Egmont's article simply requested that the overseer of Mangra hear what the lesser quorum has to say. You can reject the nobility's complaints, and thus show the commoners that they may rely on the prefecture's justice, but Sir Elverman and many fellow judges will be outraged. Father learns that this case has been assigned to you. He visits you and offers some advice. You're in quite a predicament now, son. Oh yeah, yeah. I think you're, yeah. Like that's one way of putting it. That's one way of putting it. If you try to appease one party, the other will be furious. Wouldn't you rather see if there's any way to make a peace between them? We could host a party at our estate and invite both Mayor Egmont and the noble elders from the quorum. If you are successful at diffusing their quarrel, no one would object if you decide to legitimize the Quorum Gazette. Even Elverman won't be against it if the nobles stop complaining. However, Father is not your only visitor of note that day. Shortly after the door closes behind him, the familiar face of Judge Carlo Fockgraben appears in your office. He looks around cautiously, before speaking his mind. I hear you've been ordered to deal with that newspaper run by wealthy commoners. It's a complicated case indeed. If you ask me, work like that deserves to be rewarded. Why not make the most of it? You're quite close with Prefect Elborn, are you not? Almost related, as it were. What if you were to shut down the paper and seize the printing press? All it would take is Sir Prefect's signature. And my friends among the Quorum nobles, why, they could use a gazette of their own. Wait, is this guy for real? Is this guy for real? So what this guy wants to do, Carlo Fockgraben. And we have to remember that he himself is also a judge in this prefecture. So what he wants us to do is he wants us to steal our boss's insignia. I would be delighted to help you put that printing press in good hands. Just think of it. You'd shut down a subversive periodical and help our esteemed nobles spread their message all the while earning a lucrative reward for your efforts. It's quite a coup, really. Everyone wins. Do think of it, Brant. So what he wants us to do is to steal our boss's insignia, his signature, like a stamp, right? Because you'd have a stamp. So to basically deceive our boss, seize the newspaper and then use it for nefarious ends. I think that's a really, really shitty decision, and I'm definitely not going to pick it. What I would want to do is actually legitimize the Gazette, right? Because I do agree with my father's advice, Robert Brant's advice, when he says that, what could go wrong? Exactly, Kathleen. What could go wrong? I do agree with Robert Brant's advice here, because if we shut down the Gazette, or if we do not shut down the Gazette, like, it would escalate the conflict beyond what is necessary. But if we can legitimize the Gazette in the eyes of the nobility, then we can allow them to operate without causing, a huge stir that would, that would blow back on us and our family. So we can still impress the rights of the common people to start up, their own media, their own newspapers, their own printing presses. But we can do it in a way that the nobility can approve of, and like, hopefully that doesn't mean that the message gets diluted, hopefully, but, in saying that, like, Toru Brant is not like, okay, so Toru Brant is kind of impetuous, he's kind of hot-headed, he's kind of hot-blooded, but at the same time, he's very cautious when it comes to matters that can affect the reputation of his family. Because at the end of the day, what drives Toru is love for his family, right? And so he would want to do everything in his power to ensure that his family can live peaceful and fulfilling lives. And that's why we're doing this. And so if we take too harsh of a stance, that may jeopardize, the family's well-being, and we don't want to do that. But exactly, what could go? Yeah, seize the printing press. What could go wrong? No, we'll legitimize. Oh, jeez, the wealth goes down. No, you know what? We'll keep it. We'll do it. Legitimizing the Gazette is what Toru would do. Unfortunately, we're not very rich nobles, so at some point I am going to need to do something that would enrich the family a little bit, simply because I don't think we'll be able to get ennobled by the sword if we keep doing things that cost us money, But we'll legitimize the Gazette. You spend several days scheduling audiences, exchanging greetings and presenting invitations to the senior nobles of Anazot. You have to pull all the strings you have and muster all your knowledge of Anazot high society, to say nothing of the family funds you spend throwing a suitable party for such esteemed guests. Oh my god. After much effort, both the nobles and the commoners from the Lesser Quorum have gathered together at your family estate at last. Mayor Egmont, owner of the Quorum Gazette, has accepted your invitation as well. The nobles are clearly vexed at having to tolerate the commoners' presence, yet they maintain the decorum etiquette demands. You tactfully take advantage of the situation to begin a negotiation. You inform the esteemed gathering that you are the judge handling the case of the Quorum Gazette. In your opinion, a periodical for the legislature is a most useful initiative, but only if the entirety of the Lesser Quorum shows support for the Quorum Gazette, and only if the Gazette represents the opinions of all its members, including commoners and nobles alike. Nobody liked that. Look at this. Your words are met with a flurry of resentful, shouting, disputing voices. People start to argue. Sometime later, the Gazette owner, Mayor Egmont, takes his turn to speak. He looks almost like a nobleman himself. Egmont is well groomed and wears expensive clothing that only a wealthy industrialist could afford. Nevertheless, his rough manner of speaking and boorish posture betray his humble origins. I do say there's some truth in what you're saying, Sir Brant. We did begin the Gazette without asking the noble sirs for their opinion. Still, if they let us have our articles printed, I suppose I'll agree to publish their opinions as well. And I think that this is not necessarily about... look, okay, so I know that the way that this society is going is very one-sided, and there's a lot of social conflict revolving around the rights of commoners, but like, generally speaking, you want news organizations to cover multiple perspectives if possible. You know, you don't want it to only cover one perspective, right? And so, I'm at great pains to finish the point because there is clearly one side of this equation that is committing, like, more problems than the other side, right? So, like, I find it very laborious to try and finish the point that I'm making, but you get what I mean, right, guys? In an ideal world, if you are in a news publication and you're printing opinion articles, you'd want to have more than one perspective on, you know, events and that sort of thing. But I'm at pains to finish the point. I'm at pains to make the point because in this particular universe, things are pretty one-sided. In the context of the scenario, it makes sense. It does make sense in the scenario. This leads to another fervent debate. Some nobles reject sharing a periodical with the lowborn, while the more obstinate commoners of the quorum insist they already have the right to publish the Gazette on their own. It takes you no small amount of time and negotiation to bring both sides to an agreement. It's settled then. As the owner of the Quorum Gazette, I pronounce it the official and legitimate newsletter of the lesser quorum, and the noble sirs are invited to publish their articles on the state of affairs in our province. Industrialists and merchants surround you and shower you with praise as a skilled negotiator. Tonight, you defended more than a newspaper. You stood up for the entire common estate of the province. Father keeps his distance for most of the party, but once matters are settled, he pats you on the shoulder. I like how the game's like clap, yeah, like just a single pat, just a solitary pat. Excellent work, son. You chose the path of justice while staying on the good side with the powerful nobility. Even Magistrate Elvernon won't hold this against you. Your career at the prefecture will surely flourish. Let's just hope your notoriety as a protector of the common folk won't harm you in the future. The night is over. That's nice though. Like, you were able to progress our career and the cause of justice at the same time. I think that's a good night. The night is over. One by one, the esteemed guests leave the Brante estate, the family home you know so well. You never thought that the affairs of the entire province would be one day decided within these familiar walls. Yeet. Yeet? What's yeet? Nah. How you going, Kenjo? How are you going? No, but like, when I say what's yeet, I don't mean what is yeet. I mean like, what are you eating? How are you going, Kenjo? How are you going today? Whoa, our family's poor now. Oh, that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. We need to increase our wealth. Okay, I've got tons of willpower. I'm not too concerned about that. All right, very nice. The people of Anazot know and praise you as a defender of the people's common rights, or common people's rights, rather. People's common rights versus common people's rights. There's actually a very big difference between the two in this setting. Today is a big day for the Brante family. The day your family line started. The day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight, everyone who bears the name Brante must descend into the family crypt to keep vigil by the tombs. This is the time to surrender yourself to your ancestors and hear their will. The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stefan has been choosing his apparel since morning, praying anxiously under his breath all the while. The heir has a special place in the family vigil. Even Mother is planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it. Huh. Alright. For a moment I was thinking like Robert Brante was like, no, don't go, Lydia, because grandfather's gonna cuss you out and be a dick, like he usually is. But he's actually concerned for his wife's well-being, because Lydia, our mother, over the last few years has not been doing so well health-wise. Look, she's lived a very, very rough life. And so her health is not doing too well right now. And so I think Robert Brante understands that she doesn't necessarily have the capacity to do an all-nighter anymore. Lydia, I beg of you, stay home. You're far too weak for an all-night vigil at the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind as to stay with your mother since you, that's rough. That's so rough. Because Gloria is not our biological sister, so she's technically not part of the family. Oh, well, half sister. So she's not Robert Brant's biological daughter. Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, but because she's not Robert's daughter, then she's technically not part of the Brant family. Like, when it comes to these sorts of things. Since you cannot join us anyway. Gloria answers in a muffled voice. As you wish, Sir Robert. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remember how their last encounter ended. Oh, that's true. So, for anybody who wasn't aware, their last encounter ended with Sir Gregor trying to kill Lydia. he tried to light her room on fire and kill her and ended up dying himself in her stead. Very unfortunate turn of events. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze. But at that moment, your attention is drawn to a noise in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth. Oh no! What happened to you, Nathan? I'm not, late, am I? Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fussed over him. Stefan eyes his youngest brother coldly. I expected nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you can't even manage to live by the commoner's lot? Go lie down in the pantry and stay out of our sight. Father, Toru, it's time. Let's go. Alongside Father and Stefan, you descend into the family crypt. You cannot help but remember paying your last respects to your grandfather 9 years ago. Your grandfather's a fucking asshole. You light the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long-decayed remains of Gregor Brant. You take your place around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left with their own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadow in the corners of the room deepens. Oh, that's spooky. We're getting haunted by ghosts, guys. The voices grow stronger. You note that the ancestors of Gregor Brant, long-forgotten commoners whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you. But now, a memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They are pleading for something, demanding of you, calling out to you, screaming. Finally, you all hear that painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber. Okay, that was pretty freaky. It's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission. Remember, as long as I'm in your blood, I will give you no peace. Yeah, you could say that again. I did not have my family ennobled just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever. But I do not see any of you before my tomb. Where are you hiding? Where is the head of the family? The man who will speak to me. Where is the man who will heed my will? Whoa! Father rises from his knees and makes his way towards grandfather's stone tomb, the source of that booming voice. But Stefan suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stefan firmly bars the way. Oh wow, they're gonna fight? Stop it, Stefan. You are my heir, but you are not head of this family. Father, it is not you that Sir Gregor is addressing. Earning the nobility by the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. No, fuck off, Stefan. Oh no. Oh no. Stefan does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you are here too. Even the restless voice of your ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. Alright, hold on. Let's see what we have here. I mean, time to assert dominance? How are you going, Sets You Free? How are you going today? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm not going to step forward myself because, look, Toru is not here to try and assert dominance and be the head of the family himself. I'm not here for that. You know, like, I'm here to do what's right by my father because my father is a good person trying to do his best by his family. So we're going to side with father. We're never, so just so you guys are aware, we are never, ever going to support Stefan's superiority in this particular situation. So we're going to side with father here. Yes, Stefan Brante is going to lose a little bit of relations, but frankly, don't give a shit. You block Stefan's way. Your ponderous voice fills the dark crypt. You demand that your brother step back. The head of your family is your father, Robert Brante, and so it will be as long as he lives. Could your brother have forgotten that it is part of the noble lot to acknowledge and honor seniority? Your father is the man who must hear and accept your ancestors' will. Stefan tries to maintain his composure, but even in the dark, you can see his face twitch. Brother, you don't understand. I'm not defying father's seniority, but I am the man who bears this duty to our grandfather. I cannot remain a mere witness to the future of our blood tide. I cannot remain a mere witness while the future of our blood tide runs through our fingers. You resolutely push your brother to one side. Oh, wow. Wow. Toru woke up and chose violence today. Whether he wants to or not, he will give way to the head of the family. Father catches his breath and approaches grandfather's tomb. So it's you, Robert. Have you come to disappoint me yet again? No, this guy, Stefan is right. I've not put my hopes in you for quite some time. If anyone will lead the Brante family to glory, it will be my grandson. That's rough. So we have to remember that Gregor Brante is very much like, you know, like a supremacist kind of person. Like, he believes in the supremacy of the nobility. And our father, Robert Brante, tries to be the best person that he can be within the circumstances. But Stefan Brante, our older brother, has taken after grandfather. Ouch. Yeah, definitely ouch, Prince. That's quite a slap in the face. And I agree, Kathleen, I agree. I like that the grandpa is, like, this guy's dead, right? This guy's been dead for 10 years, and yet he still manages to be a giant stain on the face of this family. Right? This guy's been dead for 10 years and he's still making his awfulness, you know, felt. That's horrible. That's horrible. Don't like that at all. But, you know, like, not even death can stop Gregor Brante from being terrible. Stefan clenches his fists and whispers something to himself. I am doing my utmost, father. We are closer to becoming nobles of the sword than ever before. The overseer looks upon us with favor. Just a couple more years and your dream will come true. This must be your dream too, Robert, but you still cater to your fondlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish upon the Brante name. My name. Dead. If you're dead, you shouldn't have an opinion, Gregor. This is ridiculous. Dead though I may be, my will lives on. Heed it at last. Get rid of that trollop Gloria and devote yourself to your true family. Otherwise, you will lead our family to shame and ruin. Father hesitates for a moment. No, father. This is impossible. Even if I must defy your will. He's a good guy. Robert Brante is a good guy. Even if I must defy your will, I am responsible for Gloria. My honor and my conscience will not allow me to do what you demand. You must accept this or keep on fighting me for all eternity. Good on Robert. Good on Robert. The voice of your deceased ancestor fades away. He seems to have left this realm, but then his voice suddenly booms from the other side of the crypt. Oh god. Why? Why? Stefan, you are the heir of this family. Your duty by blood is to earn us a place in eternity. Do not take after your spineless father. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness. Stefan is shivering. He replies in an unsteady voice. That's interesting, but Gloria, I can't. So, despite everything, he still has a remnant of love and affection for his family, you know? Stefan checks himself, but he's about to snuff it out. He's about to snuff it out. No. I will do my duty to my family, Sir Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it. The crypt is completely silent once more, and you are alone again. You can see tears glistening on Stefan's face. Without uttering a word, he goes outside. Father clasps his arms firmly around you. You feel him let out a sigh of sorrow and relief. The vigil is over. Oh, man. Yeah. No, I just have to agree with what you say, Kathleen. This guy is, like, dead for 10 years, and he's still haunting the family, right? He's still haunting the family. At least the unity level has gone up a little bit. Alright, willpower's down, but that doesn't matter to me. Alright. We are now 22 years old. Jeez. Still pretty young for all of this, you know. 22? 22? I was but a wee turtle wasting my life at 22. Just a few days into the year, Mayor Egmont, chairman of the Lesser Quorum and owner of several silver mines, made a speech that caused quite a stir in the province. Though a commoner, Egmont had the gall to demand that Magran authorities both enforce and obey imperial law. What's the use of the imperial laws if they aren't enforced as they should be? Even today, any Anazot nobleman who gets on the wrong side of the bed can draw his sword and run a commoner through with impunity. These gentlemen may be our rulers, but does that mean that they can defy the Emperor's will? Sir Elborn has been appointed to enforce the law in Magra. How come the prefect doesn't see this? You know, Mayor Egmont. You know, Mayor Egmont. We're doing our best here. We're doing our best here, you know? Like, I get it, but we're trying our best. We commoners aren't trying to seize the noble lot and take over the province, but the rule of tradition is a thing of the past. This is the age of justice. We may not be all equal in its eyes, but even the nobles and clergy must obey the law. The Magran aristocracy is furious with Egmont and demands that he be silenced, but the rich industrialist has too much money and too many connections to be dealt with so easily. You hear more and more rumors about secret societies of commoners appearing in the city, plotting against noble rule. The gentry fears that Egmont and his peers might be behind this, but they have no proof, at least for now. Father Lenart, abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and leader of the New Believers, supports Egmont and has spoken publicly in his favor. Oh wow, that's something, eh? I like though that they always try to include like the clergy into these sort of like big events, because like we could have gone through a life path that takes us through the clergy, and that's what our mother wanted for us to join, like, you know, to be religious and join the clergy. Obviously we didn't, but it's nice that they have that perspective, you know, that they show off like the different, you know, the different competing powers, because we can at least see that, oh, you know, if we had chosen our life decisions differently, we may have, you know, been at the side of Father Lenart. You know, the twins themselves entrusted the noble estate with the right to rule over the common folk, but the rulers must also care for their subjects. The old faith has mistaken no commoner should ever be forced to suffer. It is for this very reason that the imperial law exists. It is there to ease the people's suffering. May those laws be duly enforced, and may they serve all the people of the Empire. Oh no, order's down, power's up. Wealth of Magra's down. I don't like these turn of events, guys. Don't like these turn of events. It is another day at the prefecture. A secretary peeks into your office with a message from the prefect. There is a new case he wishes you to handle. You put away your quill and walk to Sir Elborn's office. To your surprise, he happens to have another visitor already. Oh, it's this lady. It's this lady. There is a graceful figure sitting from across your immediate superior, none other than Octavia Milanitis. After all the times you've met her in the capital, you expected the Archduke's daughter to be brilliantly, lavishly dressed, but her appearance today is modest and formal, with a high-necked dress and strict bun. However, her demure attire only serves to emphasize her role as a distinguished visitor to the prefecture. You bow to the prefect and the noble Archnean lady. Octavia offers you a curt greeting, then returns to the conversation that you have interrupted. This matter can brook no delay, Sir Elborn, or Baron Elborn. The young judge may well wait outside. Nonetheless, Sir Elborn insists that you come in and take a seat. Wow, he's defying this lady. He could die for that. Worry not, Brante, you are not interrupting at all. Lady Milanitis, I was scheduled to meet with Sir Brante at this very hour. I regret to inform you that your visit was perhaps somewhat unfortunately timed. Octavia rises from the soft, high-backed chair. The young Archnean lady now stands tall, elegant, and indignant. You are out of line, Sir Elborn. Archduke Milanitis has graced you with a representative from his dynasty, and you will listen what I have to say this instant. The Archduke has expressed concern over your manner of governance at the prefecture. You have always been headstrong and eager to infringe upon the freedoms of your own noble estate. But now it appears you find it acceptable to conduct proceedings against your own or our own loyal subjects. Our dynasty has already seen many loyal nobles of the sword arrested or faced with punishment at the court. Where will this lead? Do you mean to enforce your lowly laws against us Archneans? Do not forget that those laws were written to keep the low-born humans in check. Our lives have always been governed by noble honor and tradition, as well as the blood tide that is our heritage. Our only justice is the court of honor. The only rule above us is that of our sovereign, the emperor and the twins. Our only duty is to our kin and our forefathers. Basically what she's saying is that your laws mean nothing to us. We are above the law. My ancestor, Char Milanitis, himself granted the boon of nobility to you humans. It would be most unwise to make me regret his decision of old. In the name of Archduke Milanitis, I demand that you end any and all proceedings against our subjects at once. Sir Elborn acknowledges Lady Octavia's vehement speech with a calm smile, and nothing else. He shows no trepidation, no tremor, nor fear, even though the lady across from him represents one of the Empire's mightiest dynasties. Lady Milanitis, the twins have graced the blessed Archnean lineage with the boon of long life, yet the world can be quick to change at times. The laws of the Empire now govern the nobles of the mantle, and even the nobles of the sword, along with the common estate. This particular change is not as recent as it may seem. The laws of the Empire are the decrees of the Emperor himself, the twins' chosen supreme sovereign. His laws are his will, which is, as you said yourself, the only rule above us. And that means for all of us, from a highborn Archnean to the lowliest commoner. What a Chad! What a Chad! I love this guy. Augustine Elborn, he is a good guy. He is a good guy. I really like this guy. Because, like, I harp on about this almost every stream, right? But the majority of people are not in a position where that they can fundamentally change the world. You know, like, most people are not in a position where they can fundamentally change the world overnight. You know, change is not just something that happens overnight. Positive and meaningful change happens over time. And what drives meaningful and positive change over time is a collection of people that do their best within the situation, you know, within the confines that they find themselves in. And Sir Augustine Elborn, you know, he exemplifies that. So he understands that the laws, you know, regarding nobles and commoners cannot be changed overnight. And he understands that you cannot instantly, you know, make a society equitable and fair and, you know, just for all. But at the same time, he works towards his goal, and he works towards it with a steely determination, because he is faced against the power of the Archduke, which is one of the most noble dynasties in the entire empire, by people who could easily kill him and not suffer any consequences for doing so. But he stands up for his beliefs, and he tells Lady Melanitis, no, you know what? We are going to do what is right, and we are going to do what is just. And, you know, like, again, you can't change the world overnight, but if you have enough people that do the best that they can in the situation that they find themselves in, that's what drives meaningful and positive change over time. So even though the people living now may not necessarily be able to live in a just and equal society, you know, through the work of people like Augustine L. Bourne, the people of the future may be able to live in that kind of society. So it's really admirable. It's really admirable. This guy's a Chad. I'm glad you didn't dance with Octavia. So am I, JP. So am I. So am I. Presently, the Emperor's only representative in our province is Overseer Gaius Tempest. Like this prefecture in its entirety, I am simply obeying the Overseer's will and the laws of the Empire. Then pray tell me, Baron Elborn, who is your own sovereign and protector? He is none other than my father, Archduke Melanitis. You swore him an oath of fealty and vassalage. It is your duty to follow his word and will. Or do you wish for the Archduke himself to address you directly? I tell you, cease this harassment of our loyal subjects at once. I will not leave until this order is carried out. Well, Octavia, maybe you should, you know, maybe pull up a blanket because you're going to be here for a while. Why, Lady Melanitis, I'm afraid this is quite impossible. As a servant of the Empire and the Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest, it is my duty to enforce the law. Now, if you will excuse me, Sir Brante and I have urgent matters to discuss. Oh my god. Oh my god. This guy, he's got his eye on the prize. This guy, he's got that Sigma grind set. You know? Oh, what a Chad. I love this guy. Holy cow. Augustine L. Bourne, Augustine L. Chad. He just does not give a fuck about Octavia. The gaze of the Archduke's daughter is locked with the prefects in a silent struggle. Each expects the other to back down first. But then, Octavia suddenly turns towards you. But I believe the young judge has in more than him than blind obedience. Surely you are able to distinguish a rightful claim from a threat to our province, are you not? Oh, so she's coming to me now. Silence resounds within the prefect's office. They are both waiting for you to speak. I would diffuse the situation here. I would diffuse the situation because, unfortunately, like, we have to weigh our own situation. We have to weigh our own situation between, like, you know, we just want Octavia out of the office, right? We want her out of the office so that we can talk about more important things. So I'm going to defuse the situation simply because you want to see that. Oh, jeez. So we can support Elborn, and then, you know, like, that increases, you know, our reputation with Gaius Tempest and Augustine Elborn, but then reduces it with the Melanitis family. We can side with Octavia, which does the reverse, and then we can diffuse the situation, which will reduce our willpower. But then we can also increase our relations with Augustine Elborn, which is what I'm going to do, right? Because as we have learned from Robert Brante, our father, we have to navigate these sorts of situations very skillfully, because at the same time that we want to uphold justice and that we want to work towards, you know, a better and more equal society, we still have to work within the confines of the society that we have. And in order to do the best, you know, that we can by our family, we need to become nobles of the sword ourselves, which means that antagonizing the nobility is not necessarily a good thing. All right, we can defuse the situation. Let's go. You have Lady Octavia's attention now. She may not have shown it in Sir Elborn's presence, but she remembers you from the capital quite well. Skillfully, you take advantage of this connection to reduce the tension. You start by reaffirming her position. Truly, the Archduke has every right to look after his noble subjects. You would never expect an ancient dynasty to abandon their loyal nobles to their fate. Having said that, you shower the Archduke and his noble dynasty with praise, including his brilliant progeny who has deigned to grace the prefect's office with a visit. You casually mention your encounter with Lady Octavia at the fencing tournament in Eterna. Oh, name dropping. Here we go. I have to admit, Brant, for a human, you fought valiantly indeed. I've witnessed some of the best Archnean swordmasters at work, and yet your fighting piqued my curiosity. There's a look in relief of Sir Elborn's face as he watches you converse. Still you return to Octavia's demands. After all, she did not come here for small talk. The Archduke's words carry great weight, but sadly, Sir Elborn has no power to decide the matter. After all, he is but a humble servant of the Emperor. Perhaps it would be more prudent to take this matter to the Emperor's overseer, Gaius Tempest, who is also an Archnean of noble lineage. Just like a moment ago, Octavia winces at the mention of Gaius Tempest. The Emperor's brother took away her noble family's right to represent imperial authority in the province of Magra. Still, the Archnean lady considers your words well before speaking again. To a certain extent, you are right, Torter Brant. I cannot help but admit it. We Archneans ought to avoid involving humans in matters of supreme authority. It is still my wish and intention that Sir Elborn present us with an answer, but if he must absolutely learn the will of Gaius Tempest beforehand, then so be it. But do not tarry too long with your answer, or you risk angering my father. So, we've diffused the situation for now, but it will pop up again in the future. Octavia rises... Oh wow, that's loud. Octavia rises elegantly from her seat. Before she leaves the prefect's office, her eyes rest on you for a moment. She bats her eyes charmingly and addresses you with a gentle smile. And then, she's gone. Sir Elborn pats you on the shoulder, content with the outcome of the interview. Ah, Black Setsu, welcome. How are you today? Unbelievable. I never expected you to be acquainted with Octavia Milanitis. My thanks, Brant. You bought me some time. If you hadn't intervened just now, I'd have to defy the law and end all cases against nobles who serve the Archduke. We'll see what the Overseer says about this now. Archduke Milanitis is testing the prefecture with his daughter. Otherwise, he'd have asked me to come visit his palace personally. He's showing caution, which means we still stand strong, at least for now. We will continue our service to the law, without regard for the outmoded ways of the past. Good job, Elborn, good job. But I digress. This is high politics, and the prefecture still has plenty of cases to resolve. So, let's get back to our work, shall we? With that, Elborn hands you a new case file. Jeez. No rest for the wicked, eh? No rest for the wicked. We got him out of a very volatile situation, and what do we get as thanks? A pat on the back. Back to work. A book game? Yes. This is a text adventure, Black Zetsu. This is a choose your own adventure book, and we can make choices in this game that lead to different outcomes. It's time to get back to work. Oh, willpower is down, but I don't mind that. I don't mind. We saved up a lot of willpower that we can use for situations like this. Okay, what's the next situation? The repercussions of your most recent encounter with the Archduke's daughter, Octavia, soon manifest themselves. A letter bearing the seal of the great dynasty of Milanitis arrives the next day. Inside the envelope you find an invitation to Castle Serpenwerda, the Archduke's residence. Visiting the Archduke of Magra himself is a great honor. To decline such an invitation would be an insult of a colossal magnitude. You immediately purchase a new doublé, Doublé? I think that's how it's pronounced. In the latest fashion, and ask father to lend you a precious family brooch. It depicts the Brant family crest, and the leaves on the oak branch are made of tiny emeralds. Octavia should find it to her liking. Your family cannot help but notice your preparations. Mother watches nervously as you make sure everything is ready for your journey. This odd invitation has me worried, my son. Be careful in the Archduke's castle. You're still of lowborn origin. Archnean attention spells danger to people like us every time. Remember not to displease them, or the Milanitises will grind our family into dust. Well, she's not wrong, right? She's not wrong, but then at the same time, what we need to understand is that, you know, Archneans don't really care for your, like, nobles of the sword either. They still consider you, like, bugs. Come early morning, the carriage takes you away from the border walls of Anazot. It takes you a full day to reach Serpenverda, along the dusty, sun-scorched high road. While on the road, you read notes on Arknian traditions and rules of etiquette again and again. To preserve your family's honor, you must make the best possible impression. The provincial powers that be will be watching your every step, and so will Octavia, with her cunning grin. Only as the sun is about to set do you manage to spot the dark, colossal shape of Castle Serpenverda. A towering fortification of jet black stone spread across a peak, looming over the bed of a long-gone river. Wow, that's a... You know what? Is it kind of bad? Like, I'm looking at this, right? I'm looking at this imagery, and the first thing I think of is Castle Solitude from Skyrim. Is that bad? Like, I look at this, and I just think, oh, this is from Skyrim, This is from Skyrim. Todd Howard lives in my head rent-free. Oh my goodness. Speaking of which, like there's another... I can't believe it. I can't believe they announced this. So like, it's kind of funny because we got the teaser trailer promoting Elder Scrolls 6 a while back, right? And so we were all thinking, oh, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be the next TES game and all of that sort of thing, but then they come out with, oh, we're going to release a Skyrim 10-year edition, and it's like, by this point, Todd, don't you think like you should release some other games? Because we've had the original Skyrim, and then we had the Legendary edition of Skyrim, and we've also had the VR edition of Skyrim, and now we'll be having the 10th year edition of Skyrim coming out on, I think it's like the 11th of the 11th this year. And so it's like, Todd, you're re-releasing Skyrim for the special edition. Yeah, exactly, Kendra. You're re-releasing Skyrim for the third time. So this is the 4th edition at least of Skyrim, If you're going to keep re-releasing some games, if you're going to keep re-releasing Elder Scrolls games and not release the new Elder Scrolls game, why don't you release an Oblivion remaster? Why don't you release a Morrowind remaster, hey? Or a Daggerfall remaster. A Daggerfall remaster would be sick, actually. I like... Of all the possible remasters that Bethesda could do, a Daggerfall remaster would be by far the most unrealistic, just because of how big the scope of Daggerfall is. Because like a lot of the game is procedurally generated, right? And the size of the map in Daggerfall is the largest in all of video game history. Because when you look at Skyrim, when you look at Fallout 4, when you look at Oblivion, when you look at Morrowind, like if we take a look at the square kilometers of all the maps, it's like 15 square meters, like 15, 16, 20 square meters. So, 20 kilometers one way, 20 kilometers the other way. And you think to yourself, that's a large world. That's a large world, but 20 by 20 is not that big of a space if we consider it in real life. And the size of Daggerfall, the landmass of Daggerfall, was the size of the UK, of Great Britain. So it's like, Daggerfall was like hundreds, if not thousands of square kilometers, And so the way they were able to do that was by making the majority of the game procedurally generated. And there's like a lot of empty space, right? With certain areas that were built up in more detail, but the overall size of the game was absolutely massive. And, it makes for a really, really fun sandbox. But yeah, that would easily be the most difficult to remaster. But, like if they're going to remaster something, if they're going to re-release a game they've already made, they should try and re-release, an older game instead of Skyrim, their latest one. I really think like an Oblivion remaster would go over well and a Morrowind remaster would go over really well. That's just my personal opinion. Sorry for the tangent. Sorry for the tangent. When things come up, I just think of my mind just drifts. My mind just drifts. So I hope you guys are, enjoying that sort of thing. JP, I already want to time you out. I'm gonna. Can I time you out? Can we time you out, JP? Let's see. Unfortunately, Oh, wait, time out. Nah, I'm not gonna time you out, but you should know I have the intent to time you out. Because first of all, you said Oblivion is the best game, but then second of all, you say Oblivion is the best of the Skyrim games. No, JP, they're the Elder Scrolls games, and Skyrim is just the 5th in the series. So I'm not going to time you out, but you should know that I am very close to timing you out. You know, I'm very, very close. You almost deserve it. You almost deserve it. I just hope you understand that. You know, it's like, personally, I feel like Morrowind is the best of the series, but also they're the Elder Scrolls games, JP. They're not the Skyrim games, they're the Elder Scrolls games. Skyrim is the 5th Elder Scroll game. The more you know, the more you know. The carriage climbs up the narrow serpentine road to the castle gate. Soldiers of the Archduke's Guard approach you, and you present them with the invitation. The guards eye you with suspicion, but give the signal to open the gate. You are now inside the walls of the Archduke's castle. You had expected to see many carriages of other guests beyond the gate, but the courtyard is strangely empty. The guards show you to a servant who guides you to a room reserved for guests and leaves you there to wait. The servant soon returns, and you follow him through the dimly lit corridors of Serpenverda. Okay, so this is a one-on-one meeting, lavishly adorned with silver, emeralds, and weapons of war. The castle is silent. There's no noise, no music. It seems completely uninhabited. The sound of your footsteps is smothered by the soft velvet beneath your feet. The servant stops in front of a pair of massive doors made of black wood. This is your destination. He gestures silently. Ah! This is like the 3rd time in the last 2 days I've gotten fucking jump scared by a book. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why do I keep getting jump scared by this goddamn game? It's a book! Ugh. You enter an enormous room. Its walls covered in portraits and ancestral relics. In the very center of the room is a towering throne carved of black wood. Upon the throne, you see the delicate silhouette of Octavia Milanitis, clad in a black velvet dress embroidered in silver. With a commanding gesture, the Archnean lady bids you approach. Loud noises? Yeah, exactly, Prince. Loud noises scare me. And being a turtle, I don't have the fastest of reaction times, so I get scared. I can't help myself. I just wanna hide in my shell, you know? You're here at last. Are you surprised, Torter? How odd. You didn't think my father would actually summon you to an Archnean castle, did you? Or are you truly that naive? How sweet of you. Oh no. Oh no. She's pulling a Kaguya on us. How sweet of you. Oh no. How cute. Oh kawaii koto. Oh no. Oh no. No, it was I who summoned you here. You're alone in the castle. Oh, we're alone. Oh no. Portraits cover the walls. Portraits of Archneans with dark eyes and jet black hair. They all resemble birds of prey, and their eyes seem to watch you with contempt that makes you uneasy. Allow me to introduce you to my family. Family, this is a human by the name of Brante. What do you think of him, father? She casts a defiant glance at the portrait of Archduke Milanitis. Then she removes a glove from her hand and casts it as well. It hits the Great Duke right on the nose. Oh, she's not happy with the state of her family. Oh no. It hits the Great Duke right in the nose. Octavia laughs at that, and the tall walls and innumerable portraits echo her voice. Baffled, you ask Lady Milanitis why she has summoned you. Yeah, what's going on here? I'm so confused. Because you have caught my attention. Oh, Senpai noticed me. I noticed you, even when you were somewhat younger than you are now, and then I started seeing you again and again. I've caught myself thinking about you quite often. Wait, oh no. And so I've decided that I wish to possess you. You will become my companion. Other humans will envy you, but no one will dare to cross you. My name will open any door you like. In return, you will satisfy my every whim, and I will do with you as I please. Wait. What? Wait a second. I didn't sign up for this. Oh my god, I didn't sign up for this, guys. Oh, welcome to the stream, Graps. Welcome to the stream. Time to become M? No, it's more like time to become S, considering what she's saying here. Oh my goodness me. Octavia rises from the throne, the hem of her dress lifting up to reveal her elegant, slender leg. Oh, we got some ankle action, baby. You know the history of this throne, yes? My ancestor, Char Millenitis, used to sit here during the rebellion of Magra. Can you imagine that? Char Millenitis made decisions that transformed the entire empire, all from this very seat. And now it's gathering dust in this vainglorious art gallery of my father's. Now come to me, human. Scandalous, exactly, Prince, exactly. Scandalous. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What would the Gazette say of this? What would the Gazette say of this dalliance? Octavia waits for you to do her bidding. One does not argue with an Archnian. Since the dawn of the Empire, they have taken whatever they wanted. If you refuse Octavia, daughter to the Archduke of Magra, you will insult her greatly. But if you submit to this Archnian woman, if you become her plaything, everyone will know you are in the good graces of Lady Millenitis herself. As a human, what more could you possibly dream of? You recall your chance encounters with her, from the days of your youth to more recent times. What are your feelings for this exceptional Archnian lady, and what does she truly want from you? If you're willing to enter into a perilous romance with Octavia, perhaps you could do it on your own terms. Returning her affections while keeping your honor. I don't know about that. That's a very optimistic outlook. Would she defy all traditions of old for you and recognize you as her equal, even if only in secret? Octavia arches her back on her father's throne and waits for you, her slender hand beckoning you closer. Oh, can we insist? Can we insist on being treated an equal? Oh, we can do this. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, but should we even? We could just reject her, you know? Submit to her. Well, we're not going to submit to her blindly. Either we're going to reject her or we're going to insist that we are her equal. Actually, yeah, we'll insist that we are her equal. And the reason we're going to do that, why reject was locked? Reject is not locked. What are you talking about, JP? Reject isn't locked. So we can insist on being her equal, and we'll go ahead and do that. And the reason we're going to go ahead and do that is simply because, you know, if we want to, and this is a cope, you know, just so you guys know, this is a giant cope on Toru's part, on my part. But the idea here is that if we want to change her viewpoint on where the nobility and commoners and humanity stands, then if we can insist on being her equal, then she may possibly see other humans as equal to her and deserving of rights as well. Now, that's the sort of justification that Toru is going to tell himself while he goes for this whirlwind romance, you know, with a lady far above her station. Submit and you will get prestige for the family. Oh, that's true. That's true, Graphs. But I do think that we are going to keep our eyes on the prize. Like, submitting to her, I don't know, Toru has been pretty submissive to ladies in the past. Toru has been pretty submissive to ladies in the past. But I want to say that becoming a member of the nobility has instilled Toru Brante with a sense of pride, and now he will no longer. What's the difference between submit and insist? So submitting is you submit, and then she becomes your patron, and then if you insist, she will just say grow close, and then you won't get the reputation for the family. I'm going to insist on being treated as her equal. You give Octavia your answer, looking her straight in the eye. You've been in love. This is kind of true, actually. Toru was stricken by her from a very young age. Because if we remember, he tried to get her handkerchief for her and he got punched in the face by one of her guards as a reward. But ever since then, Octavia Milanitis has been on his mind. You've been in love with her ever since you were young, enchanted by her beauty and grace, every chance encounter a treasured memory. And you know that this feeling is mutual. To you, there is no greater honor than Lady Octavia's affection, but you cannot sacrifice your honor as a nobleman for the sake of this love. You do not mean this as an insult. On the contrary, Lady Milanitis is far superior to you. It is true, yet you, too, are of the noble estate, and you cannot accept humiliation, even if you must face the full extent of the Milanitis' ire. You will reciprocate Octavia's affection, but not as an obedient plaything, but as a man and a noble. Your impassioned speech ends, and you steel yourself to face her wrath. But to your surprise, Octavia seems lost in thought, her eyes downcast. Nobody denies me. I'm not used to this. You are a remarkable human indeed, Toru Brante. I've noticed this ever since we first met. Your words echo in my heart. You do not follow the usual rules. Any other man would have been groveling at my feet by now. Perhaps you can escape. You can be my escape from this stifling, sickening world. So she's not too happy with her station either. You know, and so this is like okay, so here we go. Right? Like, obviously the scope of problems is different, right? But I guess it goes to show that that necessarily the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Like, no matter how good you seem to have it on the surface, you've always got your own problems to deal with. And so, like, when you talk with other people, that's why, this is me speaking personally, this is why I like to, just preach a little bit of empathy. Try and put yourselves in the position of others, because, nobody has a perfect life. This lady is part of an oppressive class of people, but like, she's not really happy with her life either, and so it's like, no matter what station, where you are in life, you're not necessarily happy with the way things are. So when you deal with other people, just try to be a bit empathetic, because there's very few people out there who are completely content and happy in the life that they have right now. But yeah, so I went to insist that we be treated as equals. By the way, I don't think I may have asked earlier, but Graphs, welcome to the stream. And how are you doing today? So be it. I choose a human as my lover, and I care little for what the aristocracy of this twins forsaken province has to say about it. I'll take this as far as I'd like. But you will be safer if our affair remains a secret to the world. Now come to me, my sweet human. You draw closer to Octavia on the throne. She reaches out for your face, caressing it gently and carefully, as though touching a human for the first time. A moment passes, and suddenly her arms wrap around your neck, and her legs lock around your torso. Oh wow, and she pulls you closer to her with all her might. Wow, she's very eager. She's very keen, if you will, guys. Very keen. You do not resist the Archnean's assault. Her embrace leads you to the throne. So, how do you like the seat, the great Char Milanitis? Just a piece of wood, don't you agree? Uncomfortable too, but luckily, it's spacious enough for the two of us. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear your day's going well. Or evening or morning, whatever it is for you right now. I'm glad to hear that it's doing well. Hopefully, the rest of your day goes well as well. Thank you for choosing to spend some time here in the stream with me. Appreciate it. Octavia's ravenous lips find yours as her hands free you from your fashionable attire, her entire body shivering with excitement. You caress her skin, tender and azure. You commit her to memory. Oh god, this is so lewd. Are they gonna commit the ultimate act? Are they going to commit the ultimate act of degeneracy, holding hands? If they did that, I would have to close the game immediately, because that's too hot for me to read on stream. I don't know if I could do that. You commit her to memory, studying her, trying to understand her. Octavia's eyes are dark as the starless sky, sparkling with delight from your sweet transgression. But why does she seek this pleasure with you? Why would she humiliate her ancestors and her very dynasty by having an affair with a human? Seeing you preoccupied, Octavia gently pulls your head up by the chin. She kisses you passionately, and her lips start moving down your half-naked body. Her inhuman passion swallows you and overtakes you until the vast throne room of the Milonitis dynasty echoes with the last of her ecstatic moans. Then there is silence, save for the sound of your heavy breathing. Octavia caresses your back slowly and then playfully pushes you off the throne. The Archnean watches you from the portraits, their faces dispassionate as ever. Octavia returns to you at dawn, now wearing a modest black dress, her hair in a formal bun. It is time for you to leave, Toru. The Archduke will return to the castle tomorrow. I will visit Anazot now and again. Several estates there belong to me. We will meet there, safe from prying eyes. You leave Serpent Verda with your head spinning and your heart racing. The day it takes to return to Anazot passes like a single moment. When your family asks you about your visit to the Archduke, you evade the question. Phew, thank God they didn't push it that far. Exactly, JP, exactly, guys. I am so glad. I'm so glad that this game understands where the line is, right? Because if Toru Brante and Octavia Milonitis started holding hands, I think I would actually have to shut off the stream because I don't want Twitch to ban me, right? You know, thank you, Life and Suffering of Sir Brand, for not going too far with this lewdness. I really appreciate you guys trying to keep things wholesome, you know? Trying to keep things wholesome. So we evade the question. From that day forth, your heart aches sweetly, yearning for Octavia's letters. And when it is time for a brief tryst, the two of you disappear to one of her estates and you give in to your secret passion. There are days when your love and your lover seem but an illusion, something gone forever. But soon another note arrives and the affair continues, only to be cut short again for an unknown time. You have stolen the heart of the most beautiful and high-born Archnean lady of Magra. Only one nagging thought casts a shadow on your love. What will be the price for this insolence? Mr. Legendary BDSM scene, Omega Lol. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. That's a bit of a shame. But you know what? I'm pretty sure the BDSM scene might have had some hand holding, so I wouldn't have been able to show that on stream, Graphs. Monk Omega? Exactly, Kenjo. Very Monk Omega. Okay, willpower's back down, but we still have enough willpower left for a couple of strong actions, so I don't necessarily mind that either. Very nice. You've started an affair with the daughter of the Archduke of Milonitis. So, I think, guys. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, so I think after that hot and heavy scene, I'm going to finish up my stream and look up some hand holding pictures because it's a the simple truth is that like my throat is starting to hurt a little bit, so I don't want to keep going for too much longer and mess up my voice. So I'm going to start to wind down and finish up the stream in just a moment. So I want to thank you all for coming along, and we can go ahead and move to here. Sorry about the abrupt ending. It's just that like my throat is hurting a little bit, so I'm like, yeah, I don't want to keep going. I don't want to keep going and, risk damaging it and having issues, in future streams. So thank you guys. Really appreciate everybody's presence here. It's really cool that so many people came and watched the stream, even though this is just like I'm just reading like a choose your own adventure book. So I'm really glad that so many people decided to come along, say hello and all of that sort of stuff. And I really appreciate your presence. I am free for the rest of this week. So this is, oh my God, really, hold on a second. This schedule is wrong. Why is my schedule wrong? Because I was gonna talk about the schedule that I have for the rest of this week, and it is, I think it's this. Here we go. This is supposed to be my schedule for the rest of this week. So Friday and Saturday I have free. And I may decide to do like a guerrilla stream, maybe just like an impromptu stream all of a sudden, but I haven't I haven't made a decision on that necessarily. So I don't know if I'll go ahead and do that. But if I decide to stream tomorrow and that sort of thing, just look out for it. But the main scheduled stream that I've got left for this week is on Sunday at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I do have a reference point if you live EST, PST, and JST as well. That's a little bit of a reference for you guys. I will be streaming at 8 p.m. and for me right now it's just about 10 p.m. So 2 hours ago, we'll be playing a little bit of Guild Wars 2 on Sunday. And what I'll be doing in that Guild Wars 2 stream, because it's not just an ordinary Guild Wars 2 stream. We are going to be testing out a piece of hardware where you don't need a graphics card, because there are a lot of people out here right now, not necessarily in this chat, but a lot of people in general that want to get into PC gaming, right? They want to get into gaming, they want to get into streaming, maybe even VTubing. Unfortunately, the prices of graphics cards on the market right now is really, really bad. So, the 5600G is a CPU with an integrated graphics chip. And what that means is that they're able to potentially play games without needing a graphics card. And if you can save yourself $1,000 when getting into PCs, and then you can just buy a graphics card later down the line in a year or two once you have more money, that could be really useful to you. And so what I want to do is I want to showcase the performance of this particular piece of hardware to see if it can be useful for potential people who want to get into PC gaming for that reason, right? And the games that I will be showcasing, are varied and they do change from week to week. Last week I played a little bit of Hitman 3, and this week I'm going to be playing Guild Wars 2. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm not necessarily new to Guild Wars 2, but I haven't been playing actively for a very long time now, so I will be starting over in Guild Wars 2 so that people watching can get a grasp of the new player experience. So if you're interested in, like a chill stream where I talk about like MMOs and Guild Wars 2, engage the story a little bit more, because I do like talking about stories. And also if you want a little bit of like just some content with regards to tech, where I talk about PC hardware, where I talk about how things work with regards to like this particular APU architecture and that sort of thing. If you want a little bit of like a primer on how PC hardware and computers work, then please hop in and say hello, because I'll be doing exactly that on Sunday at 8 p.m. But for the meantime, I am going to hop off for the time being. I want to thank everybody who came in tonight. I appreciate the new followers and the new chatters and the lurkers. I appreciate all of you guys. I really am. I feel blessed that you guys would come in and watch me just read this choose your own adventure novel. I really do enjoy it. I enjoy playing this game, and I enjoy sharing the story and discussing it all with you. So for the time being, we are going to raid someone called Sophia Sapphire. And some of you may be familiar with who she is. She is a Japanese VTuber who's also learning English. She can speak English pretty well. And she is currently playing through Yakuza 0. And Yakuza 0 is a banger of a game. So don't worry about like a raid message or anything like that. But do say hello. Do hop into the stream if possible. Say hello, watch the content. And yeah, I want to thank all of you for coming along again. From Toru to you, thank you. I hope you all have wonderful days, mornings, evenings, wherever you are right now. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you all around next time.